a lot of what we've been talking about dovetails perfectly into what Sarder TV is trying to do with this CLO Insight Summit, meaning CLO, Chief Learning Officer. There's a lot of companies that are now actually hiring and making a very prominent role for somebody who is helping both internally and externally people learn. And that's something that you're doing as well at Firebrand Group, which is why you're going to be one of the featured speakers at this summit. One of the reasons why I know they wanted to talk to you is because a lot of the CLOs, so you have the Chief Executive Officer, the Chief Financial Officer, the CLO, the Chief Learning Officer, has often reported back to the CEO, we have all these tools in place. We have these distance learning programs, we have things right at the laptop, but how to get the employee passionate about learning and about wanting to come to it really may fall in the hands of marketing it correctly. So that's where the Chief Marketing Officer would basically come into play. So what do you think is the biggest challenge of trying to market learning as a marketer?
I think, Kieran, great question. Marketing learning as an idea is one of those things where sadly, as some kids are growing up, it's not cool to learn, right? And especially as you become a successful CEO or successful executive, you have to realize that learning is something that always continues and always should continue. That's frankly, I think, one of the problems where people sometimes look at learning as an admission that you don't know everything.
Right.
But frankly, I want to hire people for Firebrand who have a commitment to always learning. Marketing within an organization can be tremendously beneficial to get people to be involved in internal learning programs. And that's frankly how you raise the overall EQ and IQ, essentially, of your internal staff.
Okay, so emotional intelligence, I'm a huge proponent. I find it almost as important as having an IQ. Being able to understand how to connect with people is, I believe, one of the most vital things because we are all human beings, and we all, as Maya Angelou said, at the end of your life, no one's going to remember what you said, what you did. They're going to remember how you made me feel. And so part of it, I guess, is in some ways humanizing learning, not making a person feel like you're not performing at this level, so we want you to do this, but more of, why don't you come join our community? What we're doing is something that we think is very interesting. We want the best and brightest, and so we want to facilitate an environment where you guys get a leg up on our competition by learning something new, learning a new skill, or finding a new way to innovate what it is we do.
Absolutely, and in some ways, one thing that I think that's very important is that the companies that win today are the companies that learn, because they're often the ones, they're okay with creative cannibalization. They're okay with finding ways to do something better. They're not essentially resting on their laurels, right? So when you look at a company like Netflix, right, where they're constantly reinventing, or a Facebook or a Google, they're looking for opportunities to essentially cannibalize themselves in the names of constantly improving, and that's what learning should always be about.